So, welcome back, guys. We have another episode of ProView for you. Today, we have a photographer whom I admire a lot. I like to watch his images. Uh, he is none other than Mr. Saurabh Desai. Welcome, Mr. Saurabh Desai.
Welcome, Saurav.
Hey, hi, hello, Amit. Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Hello, Mohan,
Hi.
sir.
good to
Yeah,
see you,
hello,
buddy.
sir.
Good to see you, buddy. Okay,
Absolutely pleasure. Absolutely pleasure.
guys, for those who don't know, there is one name which is very synonymous with poetries. Visual poetries is nothing but Mr. Saurav Desai. I think a lot of you you would be following him on his Instagram, where not only photography, but the way he charms us with his skills on the instruments, musical instruments. Saurav, we are a big fan of. You're a multi-talented person, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And just to give you a brief introduction of Saurav, a guy who worked for almost 7 years in the corporate world. Then one day he thought, okay, let me quit it and follow my passion. And rest is all history. Okay, so Saurav, यार ये कैसे चालू हुआ? मतलब क्यों corporate world को छोड़ के such a lucrative job in such a good brand? Why you thought of joining or following your passion?
So while I was working in Larsen and Toubro, it was such, as you said, it was such a good brand. But I was physically and mentally I was there. But I always wanted to spend more time in forest, clicking animals and birds and butterflies and all. So I was not getting enough time. I was not an unhappy employee, but I wanted to give myself a try to become a full-time photographer. So in 2012, I was like, okay, let's you know give a try to become a full-time photographer because I already have a good experience of 7 years. So I was like, agar kuch nahi hoga, to I'll go back to the corporate and I'll work again. But I just thought of trying, and now I can balance more days into the forest. And I have my own company called 50mm Media Production.
Yes.
You know? Now I can spare 150 days for wildlife photography.
Awesome. Guys, for those who don't know, Saurav is based in Surat. He runs this commercial photography company, basically into architecture, fashion, and all those stuff. So he do all the facets of photography. And along with that, he follows his passion. In fact, first time when I met Saurav, it was not in any city or any forest, but surprisingly on one of the trek. And me and Jyoti, my wife, we went to Salar Fort, and Saurav came with his family, his wife, and I met Saurav for the first time. And guys, after that, I started following Saurav on Facebook because Facebook was at that time very popular. And one fine day, I came across one image of Saurav, and which is there in my mind forever, ever. It is a startral image where a Neil guy from nowhere, she appeared, she came and Saurav freezes her into the frame, and that is the frame. I mean, कुछ frame life पे Saurav ऐसे होते हैं ना जो कभी मतलब वो जाते नहीं यार memory में से. They are very nostalgic. You are that frame from that frame, and today what you shoot, Saurav, big fan of yours. And
Thank you.
without wasting any further time, Saurav, I wanted to hand over the session to you. You can share your screen. Thank you so much.
So first of all, I would like to thank Amit and Mohan sir for giving me an opportunity to present my work here in this platform where I can talk about my way of making images into wildlife.
Mhm.
So here I go with my journey of how I became a wildlife photographer. So from my childhood, I have been working with a local NGO called Nature Club Surat,
Mhm.
where I could get an opportunity to observe tiny but yet powerful elements of nature from a very close proximity of my thoughts. So while working with this NGO, I could get a chance to go for trackings and going for different local community to talk about conservation activities and all, because we are trying to get local people into conservation activity, which is called the community-based conservation.
Right.
So I already started getting knowledge about the wildlife. Even though I did not have camera, I got to know a lot about wildlife. And uh, because this NGO was closely working with a lot of communities, I also got an opportunity to see some wildlife around their places and all. And probably that became a primary element of me having knowledge about wildlife. And and after this community-based conservation activities and all, I also got into an activity as a volunteer with this NGO where I can take kids, school kids, to different places like Gir National Park, Wansda
Mm.
National Park, Dang Forest, Great Run of Kutch and Little Run of Kutch and all, where we can take them to trekking and bird watching and other activities, to get them introduced with elements of nature. And that's how I every time I was going into different places, I was also evolving as a nature naturalist. I was also getting more knowledge about wildlife and all. And I have a basic interest into biking and trekking. So this hobby also, gave me an opportunity so that I can be into different places and I can be into nature and wilderness. So trekking is one of the hobbies that I enjoy a lot because I can reach to some places where probably not everybody can get. And Himalaya, of course, became my a very very favorite place because of my interest in trekking. But my first camera, I mean, it's a very interesting story how I got my first camera. I remember it was 1996,
Mhm.
and the president of Nature Club Surat, Mr. Snehal Patel, he was there with me in that camp. And every time when he used to go somewhere to make images, I used to go behind him. Arey sir, kya kar rahe ho? Sir, ye kya hai? Ye kya खींच रहे हो? Why are you taking all these images and this and that? And I understood that okay, this is not something very easy. It needs a lot of technical skill. It needs a lot of observation and all. And in '97, I was talking to him that I am also interested in photography. By that time I was in 10th standard,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm very much interested in wildlife photography, but I don't know how to start with. And he was like, okay, go to my tent, bring that back to me.
Mhm.
Okay, so I went to his tent, I brought the bag to him, and he said, okay, it has a camera and it is for you. You take this camera. I was like, what? Seriously? I mean, I couldn't reply. I remember it was a Cosina film roll camera body with a Tamron 7200 millimeter lens.
Okay.
He gave me 5 rolls, and I said, but I don't know even how to load the
Hmm.
film in the camera. So he taught me how to load the film. And then I said, then how can I make the picture? So he said, okay, ये जो ऊपर का बटन देख रहे हो उसको 125 पे रखने का. So that used to be the shutter speed. वो मेरे को बाद में पता चला कि 125 is the shutter speed. I didn't know कि वो shutter speed है. So बोले इसको 125 पे रखने का. मैंने कहा फिर क्या करने का? फिर बोले ये लेंस के ऊपर एक रिंग दिख रहा है. मैंने हाँ लेंस को उसको घुमाने का.
Hmm.
तो आपको कैमरे के अंदर एक ग्रीन कलर का लाइट दिखेगा. When it is green, you can make the image.
Okay.
I said, यार ये तो easy है, simple है. It is not a rocket science. I mean, wow. इतना ही तो है, 2 बटन घुमाने का and you can make an image. And that's how I was given 5 rolls and that Cosina camera body, and that was my first ever introduction to an SLR camera with 7200 Tamron lens. Right? So that's how I picked up the camera for the first time in my life.
Awesome, man.
And then eventually, while college, I had Nikon film cameras, F55, F85.
Right.
Like, so I was using those cameras, and my favorite subject used to be butterflies
Okay.
because the lenses I had can only click butterflies.
Hmm.
Okay, so my first interest was butterflies because I had 1855 and 7300. So I cannot click birds and all. So I thought, "Nee, butterfly interesting hai." So I started taking more interest into butterflies and all. And then eventually, when I grew up as an engineer, I worked with L&T. Of course, I could afford more equipments and all. So throughout my college and my engineering career in Larsen and Toubro, I never left photography. I mean, I kept doing photography. And even today, after working with 50mm media production, I mean, I'm trying to balance between my commercial photography and my wildlife. So total from 97 till today, it's been more than 20 years. And I always find from that one image to this image, it has taken more than 20 years. But honestly, the whole journey has been very fascinating.
Yeah.
Because not just the images that I have earned, but as I said, I have earned a lot of friends from wildlife. A lot of, I mean, it's very important for me. All my friends I know from wildlife, I mean, they're very close to my heart. And this journey has been an amazing journey all these years. I mean, so I'm very fortunate that I got to work with some NGO who brought me into this hobby of photography. And today I'm enjoying this hobby, and it always feels very heavy when I'm talking about this journey. So thank you so much that I can talk about my journey here.
No, Saurav, we are so proud of you. In fact, guys, for those who don't know, I mean, last 1.5 year, when as a photographer, I mean, if you see the number of jobs are very less for us, as even me too, a commercial photographer. But Saurav willingly doing a project on the COVID documentary, and he's doing it for almost past 1.5 years. So Saurav, we are really proud to you, man, and salute to you, because I've seen some visuals, the behind the scene, how you wearing your PP kit and how you enter into those hospitals and cover.
I know.
So hats off, man. Hats off to you.
I'm still shooting. I mean, this is the second wave which has come, and I'm still shooting COVID documentary. Let's see how it goes. I mean, I'm working it for Surat Municipal Corporation.
Super.
Wish you all the best.
Wish you all the best, Saurav, and stay safe, man.
Thank you.
Stay healthy. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll now take you to the first definition of wildlife that, whenever you talk to someone and you will say that, okay, I'm a wildlife photographer, the first impression of your photography would be these kind of images. I mean, which is very obvious, which is very, very obvious. Because see, it's not that I don't shoot portraits or I don't like portraits. I love portraits. I love to see animals in action. I love to see, because animals themselves are very, very amazing. I mean, their body, their texture, their shape, their patterns, everything is amazing. I mean, so everybody would thought that, okay, lion, leopard, tiger, and आपको तो पूछ ही लेते हैं सब लोग कि चीता भी खींचा होगा. So yeah, I mean, so it is like, so when we get to see these kind of course, I mean, most laymen would of course appreciate these kind of images, and even I love these kind of images because it's nothing wrong clicking this. But then when I think about such images, then either there are 2-3 things. Either I'm very lucky to get these moments.
Yeah.
That's why I have these pictures. Another thing that I am fortunate enough that I can spare money and time to go there with these kind of equipment so that I can capture the images.
True.
And another thing is the technical skill that we have acquired during all these years being into photography. I can get this kind of images. But the point was that why people should look at my images when I'm just making this, because people have created wonders with the portraits as well.
True.
I mean, if we talk about other photographers, I mean, there are so many great photographers I admire a lot, and they have created wonderful portraits. I mean, I'm not even close to those portraits. So why people should remember my portraits of animals? So that was the question in back of my mind. And then in wildlife photography, it's a trend. Then you start shooting mammals and then gradually go into birds, because birds are, it's like a video game. So you start with easy subjects, and then you give yourself a challenge, next level. So birds and birds in flight and birds in mating and birds in action. So every time we have different, we give a different challenge to ourselves. So we shoot birds and all. So with all these images, I was not unhappy. And then when it comes to rarity, so probably the snow leopard are the rarest mammal which we can say in the entire planet. And I decided to shoot snow leopards also. But I mean, the first impression of most people about wildlife is what images I have just shown you.
Right.
But then these images, I always would say that there are just 1 in million. I mean, if you Google anything related to any animal, you will have lakhs of images out of it.
Absolutely.
And I was like, why should people remember my images? But this is what everyone else is doing. I mean, of course, I love to do it. I mean, I love to watch animals. But when it comes to image making, I wanted people to remember what I have been doing. So the point was, this is the scenario of today's wildlife photography generation. I mean, you got to know about some bird and everybody is there. Everybody is there with their lenses and tripods and all. I mean, it is the case in Africa also. I mean, there are very few places I have been to other countries, but it's like everybody is doing same. I mean, so then I gave myself a small break that, okay, what else I can do with my equipment and with my knowledge of wildlife photography, so that I can really make a different image. And then I started reading about books. I started reading about art. I started reading about art of visual presentations and all. And I also got to know Ganesh Shankar, who is a very dear friend to me. And I started seeing his work, and I got very inspired. And then other photographers from other countries, I kept on seeing things rather than making images. I started spending more time on learning about art of visuals. And then the point was, what I have understood is, whenever we are said that draw a bird, if I ask someone to draw the bird, the first impression we would get was this. People who draw a bird like this. But the point is, what if I'm not a good painter or I'm not a good sketch maker? So I said, okay, if I have to draw a bird, I'll make it more simple. I'll make it like this.
True.
Which is still a bird, and the presentation is more creative. If you see the Hindi movies and South movies and all, so when somebody is introduced, a hero or heroine or a villain, they're introduced with the very typical characteristic, and they show their shoes and they're getting out of the car and this and that. So the hint of the subject becomes more powerful. So then I understood, okay, we can think beyond portraits. We can think, beyond just the general identity of that bird or animal or whatever we're trying to capture. So if you go back into our education system, and if you are thinking about what we have been taught, suppose we are asked to draw a natural landscape.
Yeah.
Landscape. What would we draw? We'll draw two mountains.
Two mountains.
One
Because
shot.
third is not third to allowed in it. Third mountain is not allowed at all. Okay, sun is coming exactly from the center. Sides allowed नहीं है.
Absolutely.
Sun sides से allowed नहीं है. Teacher mark काट देगा. So we grew up with the fear, है ना? River हमेशा दो माउंटेन के बीच में
से निकलेगी, या और इवन सन का रेज सन रेज एक छोटा एक बड़ा.
Exactly. So the point is, this is what we have been taught. Yes. That अगर आपको landscape draw करना है, all you have to draw is this particular thing. Because अगर आप इससे कुछ भी हटके कर, so from our childhood we have that fear कि marks काट देंगे. अभी the same fear we have, no, likes नहीं मिलेगा.
Right.
Comment नहीं मिलेगा, लोग reshare नहीं करेंगे. So fear is still there, just different kind of fear that we have. So the point is, we need to get rid of this fear of कि वो बोलते हैं ना, सबसे बड़ा रोग मेरे बारे में क्या कहेंगे लोग. उससे we have to come out of that. Because just imagine a child grew up in Great Run of Kutch. He has not seen mountains.
True.
So I can draw a landscape, Great Run of Kutch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why not?
But the point is, it is not defined, right?
Yes.
So then people started defining it. This is the minimalism.
Yeah.
But the point is, until and unless it was undefined, people were afraid of certain things, afraid of doing certain things.
Very true.
So I get rid of that fear. We need to define which is not have been discussed, which have not been spoken much about it. So the reason was this break that I took for a couple of months, and I started reading and observing other photographers. I understood that first of all, whatever we want to do, we need to define it. We need to align it that people, because ultimately every art must reach to the viewers. Because Ansel Adams said, no, that there's always two people in the picture, the photographer and the viewer. Right. So I said, if I'm trying to do something different, just to become a difference won't help me. Sure. I need to define what I have been doing. So then what I started was, it was a designing method that scrap your first thought. When you see the animal or when you're in the forest, whatever is there in front of you, so first thought would be taking a portrait, right? Whatever we see in the forest, that okay, we'll take out our cameras, we'll make a nice beautiful frame, we'll adjust the light exposure and we'll shoot the bird. Then I was like, no, I'll scrap that first thought because that would be the first thought. वो landscape वाला thought है ना, दो mountain वाला,
True.
उसको हटा दो. Now what else can we do? And वो चिड़िया वाला concept अगर आप इस पे लगाओ, so this is the image. And I call it the blessings of Buddha. If you see, it has,
Yeah,
you can see hands into it.
absolutely.
So I just tried myself. Okay, so this is it didn't come in a day or two. It was just that every time when I was there in the field, I was trying. Of course, it wasn't easy. I mean, and okay, I always take first a portrait. में ले लेता हूँ. Okay, I clear myself that I make portrait. But then the next thing that I want to try is that, okay, what next? I mean, what else I can do with this situation? So if I see a lion sitting on a beautiful hill, this is probably the picture that everybody would love to make. So while taking this picture, after making this image, I was very happy because it's a beautiful portrait of a very handsome lion of the Gir called Raju.
Raju, yeah.
Yeah, Raju is a very handsome lion. So I was very happy and content. But the point was that everybody else who was there with other gypsies probably would have get the same kind of portrait. So when next time I went to that place and when I saw this same lion sitting on a perch, I decided, okay, what else I can do? I said, okay, I'll not shoot with 300, 600 mm. I will shoot this chap with 90 mm tilt and shift.
Okay.
And I made this image.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
In fact, even the color version of this sort of looks amazing.
Yeah, because it actually, the color version, just before the twilight, it was there.
Yeah.
So you can see the blue haze in the sky and all. And honestly, this image made me one of my, I don't have so many awards or anything, but one of my very few awards was from HIPAA.
And guys, for those who don't know, what is HIPAA? Please go and Google it. Okay, even I don't know. It's one of the most prestigious award in Dubai, and I don't know how much. I think world's biggest prize money, right, Monsa? HIPAA.
Yes. World's
Right?
biggest prize.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Saurav. And guys, in fact, one small mistake I did, मैं खुद ज़्यादा तारीफ नहीं कर रहा था सौरभ का. But you talk about publications, you talk about websites, you talk about companies, you talk about magazines, and you talk about awards. Okay, and on top of it, Saurav is author of his own profitable book. So definitely, I'm going to share all the links in the description. So please go and see his profile. He's just amazing, sir.
Thank you, Amit. So this is what the topic today that I want to talk about is art of seeing and making some different images. But we have to make sure that it shouldn't be just for the sake of being different. It should be a meaningful images. So to achieve these kind of images, I mean, what I'm trying to define today is that okay, if they are different, it has to be a meaningful image. So the step one is that our images should be unique. So when we are saying that our images are unique, it should be original, imaginative, and different.
True.
So to achieve this characteristic or this quality of the image, you can do different things. You can change your angle, you can change your lens, you can change your direction of the light, you can change your distance from the bird. So there are n number of ways that you can make your images unique. Right, but this is the first characteristic that if you want to get into creative nature photography, that image has to be unique because the birds and animals which we are going to capture are going to be same. Correct, because everybody else has already captured amazing animal portraits already. They have already done that. So the animal will remain same. We need to change either the lens or the angle or light or direction or whatever we can do apart from what has been doing. Okay. So the first characteristic is that our images has to be unique. The second is our images.
This is the image, guys. This is the image. It haunts me.
So this image, actually, I got this image, Amit, particularly. I was in a hide. So you can see a small shadow of the hide. You can see here.
Right.
In the bottom near the leg, you can see the hide. There's a shadow there.
Yeah.
And this nilgai was already there. So while taking the start rail, when I thought that nilgai is closest to my hide, I fired a flash.
Oh,
And in one particular image, when I fired my flash, it got captured in one of the shots of the starter.
okay.
And when I stacked them together from that particular frame, it
Yeah.
got into there.
I mean, it's so unique. I mean, that's why sort of it haunts me. Okay, whenever I do start race, now also, लगता है यार एक कुछ तो सामने आ जाएगा और सौरव जैसा shot.
No, but it was also, I mean, I knew that this particular Nilgai used to come very near to those places because it's a national park. You cannot enter at night.
Right.
So you cannot do it like every night. But this particular male was just near the guest house only, near the forest guest house. So we knew तो हमने 2 दिन hide वहाँ पे लगा के छोड़ दिया. And third day we tried the start reel from there.
Beautiful.
So the step 2 that I was talking about was that your images has to be impressive. So if it has to be impressive, it should be beautiful, aesthetical, and at the same time, it should be deliberate.
Right.
It has to be the deliberate effort. Correct. You know, because sometimes photographers, and they make image, after seeing them and they are surprised. They give surprise to themselves.
अच्छा ये भी है उसमें.
So there should be some connection between the photographer. Of course, we learn from our mistakes. So we learn from what mistakes that we do. You know, high key images are initially invented out of a mistake. It's a wrong exposure, basically. But then people started using it deliberately so they can come up with some beautiful, creative images, right? So apart from the uniqueness, if your image is unique, but it is not impressive, it's of no use. So if it is unique, it has to be impressive at the same time. It should touch someone. It should talk to someone. So these are the 2 steps that can make a beautiful wildlife photograph: that uniqueness and impressive. The third part, when I say that fine art nature photography or creative nature photography, the images should be intellectual. Images must have that intellectual property that your image can convey something to the viewer. See, this quality is not something that every time you can achieve this kind of things. But if you can achieve that storytelling, or there is some relativeness between the normal people or some meaning to it. Say for this example, it might look a flamingo image, but it also tells a story of urbanization in my city.
Yeah.
Correct. So if the image is unique, if your image is different, if it is impressive, and if it has that storytelling element or that intellectual property, it is nothing like that.
Absolutely.
And then people,
looking to this image, I mean, एक ख्याल दिमाग में आ गया, no? किसी का घर बस रहा है at the cost of मेरा घर.
Exactly. See, that's how. So that is why I always call visual poetry. People can elaborate it the way they want it. True. This is the beauty and the magic of poetry. That whatever, I mean, writer ने कुछ भी लिखा हो, people elaborate, they take along with their experiences and they try to understand with their perspectives like that. So, I mean, that was one of the reasons that, this kind of images can talk to laymen as well.
Absolutely.
See, and why this is important? Because, say, for example, I show a Great Indian Bustard image to my mother. Correct? She would say, what ugly bird. So she doesn't know the importance of Great Indian Bustard. So she would find it very ugly or okay looking bird. She would prefer to watch peacock dancing out of my building against Great Indian Bustard. So the point is that, you know, that is how I can connect common people to my images. I mean, not just those who love wildlife, but the common people. So third quality which I was talking about was intellectual property of the image.
Wow.
Right? Say
this
for example,
all-time favorite image.
And luckily, Amit, I know so that we don't have to travel a lot to make this. This is taken from my balcony. I mean, so this kind of images, see, you don't have to title these images. You don't need to talk much about this kind of. You just throw it to the viewers, and they will. Somebody would call it urban trees. Somebody would call it urbanization. Somebody would call it afro. Whatever they want to do, they can do with the image. I mean, so that is why that intellectual property can. It is the way of communication as an artist to the local people.
So I think what makes you different. You बोलते ना कि air it's hot and sour. It's different, you know. The Saurav Desai is different. Yes, yeah, usually it happens every day in front of us.
Yeah.
But how many people actually have seen it and then capture it the way you capture it, Saurav?
Correct.
That's the difference between, see, I can copy you, I can copy your style, but I can't copy your vision, Saurav. So,
See, the reason that is I told you that we need to unlearn certain things.
Yeah.
If you don't, and unlearning is a way difficult process than learning.
absolutely, absolutely.
Is a very difficult process than learning. I mean, and that was the reason that I just stopped doing photography for a couple of months and started reading about art and all. So step 4 is like the emotional content of the image.
Mhm.
So your images are different, they're unique, they're impressive, they're beautiful, they're intellectual and storytelling. But just in case, if they're emotional, they become the fine art print.
Hmm.
They become the fine art images. They're expressive, they're philosophical, they're subjective. You know, say for example, so I did this story for Saviors magazine
Hmm.
about the Haina social life. And I was supposed to portray the Haina family. The point was, this image talks about a female hyena bringing food for the cubs. Now the issue was that first I captured this image,
Hmm.
but then this came to me like a very cruel image. It's very brutal. The quality of motherhood is going away,
Right.
because of the blood and that flash and all we can see. That motherhood, the tenderness of the word mother, care for the cubs and all was going away. And I decided to give this image to Saviors. So it is just how that if you see a mother in this hyena, you would probably end up, okay, इसमें वो cruelty नहीं है, इसमें it doesn't talk about blood and flesh.
True.
So that is just the reason that this is how I try to present. I'm portraying a mother. So, you know, that is the reason the subject is not hyena here. The subject is a mother.
True.
The subject is not hyena and the mother, you would start seeing it differently. And that when you say, okay, I don't see a hyena, but a mother into it, the emotional content comes in the picture.
Right.
And if that comes in the picture, you would try to portray different. Say, for example, if you want to capture a teacher, if you want to make a portrait of a teacher, you would not portray him chopping banana or onion.
True.
You would portray him while she is or him or he is teaching the students.
Right.
So that is how, if I'm portraying a hyena, we have a pre-notion. Because बचपन में मोगली के साथ हाइना को कैसे देखा था?
Right, tabaki.
So we have those visuals, those learnings already installed. The old applications are still there. So we just need to refresh those applications so that we see a mother there, and then you will try to present it differently. So that the last thing that I talk about is the emotional content of the picture, right? And then when you say emotional content, the subject in the picture is just going away.
Right.
So the point was, when say emotional content, most people would say that it is mostly very emotional. I mean, people are crying in tears, they are breaking down in tears. But when we say emotional content, it is a lot of other things. It is about the touch, it is about the feel, it is about conveying a message, it is about laughter, all the emotions that we have 118 emojis to express what we can feel.
True.
Right? So when it is emotional content, it can be anything. It can be funny also, right? So it can be anything. So a lot of people would say, okay, emotional content मतलब तो थोड़ा आँख में आंसू आ जाना चाहिए, बंदा रो जाए, right? So the point was why I showed you 4 steps. Actually the 5 steps. One was unlearning, then uniqueness, then impressive, then intellectual, and then the emotional content of the image. Right. So when we talk about all these qualities, our subject cannot become a tiger.
Right.
Our subject cannot be a lion. Okay. Then the subject becomes these kind of things: peace, flow, happiness, calmness, darkness, poetry, wind, sadness, all these subjects: love, attraction, anger, laughter, posture, time, crowd, pride, sorrow, death. So if we want to become a creative and fine art nature photographer, first of all, we need to understand that the subject is not the animal. Subject is the emotional content or the intellectual content that we want to deliver. So when we are capturing sunset or a moon, this is moonrise, by the way. But when we are capturing these kind of images, we are not capturing a moon,
Right.
not capturing the tree, but the time value of that particular ambience that we are there. So if we change the subject and convert them into these kind of words, which I'm showing you on the screen, probably the vision would definitely change.
True.
That's what I understand.
True.
Right. So point was that the issue was the popular rule books of wildlife photography, which are never written, but explained a couple of times, so many times rather. So nobody wanted to go away from those popular rule books. But the issue was, if everybody would follow the same rule book, everybody would end up making the same images.
Very true.
And if every image is same, see, either people are, if you want to be different, either you have to be lucky to get the moment, some
True.
unique moment,
True.
correct? And or you should be able to spend a lot of money that you can go to North Pole, South Pole, correct? Then your images are different.
True.
Otherwise, everybody's image would look the same. I mean,
Yeah.
so once we need to know all those rules of making wildlife photography, and then we need to basically break those rules to make something different.
True.
So when I say that we have to look around, we need to break those rules, doesn't mean that a tiger dikhega, then I'll break the rules. I'll put the tiger in the center. No. We should start observing tiny but yet powerful element.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to tell people that, guys, this is also wildlife. So when I portray these kind of images to my friends, after seeing couple of images, हाँ, but अच्छा मस्त वाला wildlife दिखाना है, असली wildlife दिखाना है. The point is, ये भी असली wildlife ही है. And this image I posted when Modi ji did the surgical strike. And it was explained by itself.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, I'm just trying to connect people with my images. I mean, it is not that, okay, otherwise, if I don't post it on that surgical strike day, it's like a nice graphical presentation of a caterpillar crossing. It is just in front of my house on the road divider.
Yeah.
I mean, but the vision should be like, okay, if your images has to be different, we also need to understand the graphical value of the place.
Okay.
With every optic, so starting from fisheye lens to 800, 600 millimeter lenses, the graphical values changes dramatically. I mean, and then we have this lens baby and tilt and shift and all those things. So graphical value is equally important along with the animal in the frame.
Very true.
So even if this image talks about the coexistence, this image talks about how people and birds are living together, how manas are not building their nest on the trees now, a lot of things. I mean, I don't have to title a lot, I don't have to talk a lot about this image. This image is self-explanatory, right? So since when I thought and okay, I want to make some different image. I started from my hometown. I started making small series of the images. So, okay, I'll start working with urban birds. I'll start working with birds on the river bank of Tapi, where I stay. Right? So these are the images. I said like, okay, everybody has some great images of elephant, but there should be some element. So I always give equal importance to the background and the foreground.
True.
Along with the animals. Of course, everybody, it's a very common thing that everybody has to give equal importance to background, foreground. I mean, but just to make your images different. Okay. Then I use tilt and shift a lot. So this image is taken with tilt and shift lens. And this is some eagle. Okay, I generally don't get into the
Raptor. Some raptor.
from raptors and waders and wobblers. I say okay, thank you. So the so this is from Kaziranga, where there's blooming Bombec ceiba tree is there, and so everybody else in my gypsy was shooting with 600 millimeter, and I was shooting with 90 mm tilt shift. So every time when I make images, if I was shooting with, and they were waiting this bird to come out of this tree background, the tree foreground.
Distraction
They were
new.
like, एक बार बाहर आ जाए तो focusing का भी issue नहीं होगा. And I was like, नहीं यार थोड़ा उधर एक बार बीच में से चला जाए, पेड़ के बीच में चला जाए.
True.
Because the graphical value of the image increases with the foreground and the background.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As I said that not every time you come across कि अच्छा property, intellectual property भी है, emotional content भी है, it doesn't come every time.
True.
So I guess that graphical value works every time. If we use anything which is available in front of us, so it works. And every time when I go with other photographers, every time I say, हाँ भैया gypsy इधर रखो, they are confused. पेड़ बीच में आ रहा है. They are like, अभी तो पेड़ बीच में आ रहा है. Okay, I want to. And
One sir, just to give you a brief, I mean, me and Saurav just had a conversation just before the interview, and now the problem with Saurav is that he's so different that when he takes his friends or guests along with him for workshops, everyone is taking a portraits, and then they ask, portrait ठीक है Saurav, अलग बता भी कुछ.
Actually, it happens. I mean, so, कुछ अलग कैसा वाला. Every time I say stop the gypsy, everybody is sitting in the gypsy like this. Because they're thinking, नहीं ये तो बीच में आ रहा है. I said no, that makes a graphical presentation. I mean, but it's very difficult. I mean, yeah.
Like
So,
Saurav, you're such an honest person. I mean, thanks for sharing this beautiful moment. I mean,
no, but I mean, every time. So I guess it comes within. I mean, अभी ऐसा हो गया कि it's a practice.
yeah.
So, say for example, if there are 4 people in my gypsy, everybody is with 600 mm, I feel uncomfortable. I should put my 600 down now. I should pick up anything else from my kit. And so sometimes it is that I don't see it that way, but everybody else, अरे सब 600 वाले, एक मिनट रुको, I'll change the lens. So I don't see it, but then I try to okay, कुछ ना कुछ अलग इसमें से निकल के आएगा वाला feeling होता है. So of course, when we tend to make these kind of images, we should be ready to lose certain moment.
True.
So I remember I was in Dandeli, and I was shooting with this 90 mm lens.
Yeah.
And I saw a beautiful hornbills taking a sand bath. All I could do was watching them through my binoculars.
Right.
Because to become different, I did not carry my 600 mm.
Right.
And I could not capture the moment. But it happens. I mean, so you have to be ready that, okay, you may miss. And especially with tilt and shift lens also, taking an exposure is always a task. Because it's a manual lens and the aperture is there in the lens itself. So it is always a task. When you change your shift to left, the exposure value comes is different. When you change your shift to right, the exposure value comes is different.
Yeah.
Different. So every time you have to remember, okay, it's a left, इसको overexpose करना है, it's a right, इसको underexpose करना है. कभी-कभी you don't get to capture anything. It's just some random image. But that's okay. We have to be ready for that. But basically, I love animalscapes a lot.
Okay.
Love animalscapes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, if we talk about this bird, like open bill stork, the very ignored element of bird community. Nobody gives a damn to open bill stork because मेरे घर के सामने ही होता है. गुजरात में it's like as common as crow, like that.
Right.
So like in Kaziranga, when I asked my driver, okay, roko, he was like, sir, open bill stork ही तो है. Okay. Because इसको ये नहीं बताएगा सर वो आगे फिश ईगल होगा सर. There are rhinos, there are elephants, No, I want to capture, I mean, just a small image. I mean, quickly, I'll take only 30 seconds. Every time I'm doing, man, please 30 seconds, 2 minute wala scene hota hai. Because nobody would want to take an image of open bill stock.
Open with stock.
So this is always a communication in my gypsy. But yeah, I like these kind of images. I mean, it talks about this tree also.
Yeah.
And this is probably the charm of the forest, this red flower of Bombyx ceiba.
Absolutely. And which
This
is there
the
for
charm.
10, 15 days in a year?
10-15 days. Yes. Only 10-15 days in a year. And if you don't capture this tree, I mean, I cannot say that I have been to Kaziranga during this season if I don't come up with this red flowers. So these are the examples of little bit different images with some aesthetical values to it. So I always ask people that if you have captured the portrait, try to change your lens. Whatever lens you have, try at least 1 or 2 images with different lenses. But I love this 90mm lens, and I make these kind of images with
Sort of this one technical question, this 90mm tilt shift lens you mentioned, other than this kind of wildlife creative shots, any other use of that in commercial photography?
No, I generally don't. In commercial photography, generally 24-70, 100-105, 70-200 millimeter.
And your prime lens is 50-35 and all
And
this.
the prime, yeah. And then the series of that 35-85 and 50. So I also use 35mm a lot.
Okay.
In wildlife, and because actually in macro we get to see this wide angle macro can be captured very well with 35mm.
Okay.
So it gives you good enough distance with the subject with the wider background.
Oh.
So I use 35mm a lot, particularly Sigma. I have Sigma art lens.
Yeah, that's a beautiful series by Sigma art lens.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes. So I use 35 a lot. So they're all images with. This is Cape Langur jumping from one tree to, and this is also taken in middle of the afternoon. So you see that overcast sky in the background. And the gibbon langur. So as if it is moving from a barren land to the green area. So every time try to put something in the image. I mean. So, and this is the image everybody knows that solid waste dumping sites are there. Yeah. And when we say that beautiful images, aesthetical images, this is not impressive or not aesthetically well presented, but this is a storytelling. It's a strong storytelling images, because just before few slides we saw the same bird sitting on Bombyx ceiba and the same bird sitting on solid waste dumping site. And these kind of images, sometimes a series of images makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's the same place where the bulldozer is working and the same place where the stalks are there. Right? So element, sometimes when we say 4 elements of different and aesthetical and storytelling and emotional, see, every time you cannot capture all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so I always say that at least get 2 of them. At least out of 4 qualities, at least 2 of them should be there. Okay, if they're aesthetically beautiful, it's okay, they are not storytelling, but it should be different and aesthetically beautiful. At least minimum of what I could say that people should capture, right? And also the element which are not generally in the picture, or probably which are not generally admired a lot by the people. Okay, chalo bhai, lion, tiger, ye image dikha ke, if I say someone I'm a wildlife photographer, he would look at me and like, seriously, you're a wildlife photographer. But it's okay. I mean, I love the visual values of the image. And then these kind of images. So I love to present my images in the form of series. So I always, so if I see something, I try to make 10 or 5 images out of that. So I change my lenses, I change my angles. So this way I learn also. So when if I have captured something with 100 and 400, I'll try, if the subject is something that I can capture with another lens, I would capture it with macro lens, I would capture it with fisheye lens, and then I portray it with a series, that how, because that is the optical values that we are adding with the change of lenses. So
True.
every time I'm changing my optic, I'm changing the graphical values, the background, the foreground, everything is different. So of course, patterns are very important part. So I live on a seashore, Surat,
Mhm.
the same coastal line of Mumbai. And so
Oh.
all these images are taken nearby my house. I mean, I have not traveled or I have not climbed the mountains to capture these kind of images, but just I keep on. So I also want people that, okay, that if you are a wildlife photographer, and a lot of youngsters specifically, probably they are watching this or listening to me, so वो लोग को ये लगता है कि यार we don't have enough money to buy safaris in Bandhavgarh and Ranthambore, but you would be amazed. I have never been to Ranthambore. I have never been to Bandhavgarh.
Oh.
I
That's
have
yes.
yes. So if somebody wants to start photography in wildlife, they can start from their home ground. They can start from their own city.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this series I call the Dying Trees of Dang Forest. It is there in my book, which you mentioned, Visual Poetry, is my first book. So this whole series talks about the forest which is dying.
Yeah.
This forest is actually dying, and a lot of conservation efforts have been put up by the NGOs where I'm working right now. But this series I was trying to portray that how trees are dying in this forest.
In fact, guys, for those who don't know about what is Dang, it's a northernmost tip of Western Ghats, which
Correct.
ends at near Surat, Gujarat, and Nasik, beyond Nasik. And believe me, guys, Saurav, go and check his portfolio. Saurav has done exclusive work in a Dang. And if you wanted to have more information about Dang Forest, I think the one person sitting here, Mr. Saurav Desai, you can ping him anytime, and you can have a lot of information about that forest. It's a beautiful forest.
Yeah, it's a beautiful forest. Of course, it is not very well known forest, of course, because in terms of wildlife, हमने कुछ छोड़ा नहीं है वहाँ पे. But
Because sort of the thing is that everyone talks about Western Ghats, largest biodiversity. Everyone talks about Goa down, South India. But I tell you that Western Ghats is equally beautiful towards the north also. And Dang is the place where the Western Ghats actually ends in the north.
So, I mean, not a lot of people know, but if I want to watch a Malabar Trogon, it is 125 kilometers away from my place.
True.
So I'm living in Gujarat.
The first one to document it, Saurav?
Yeah, I was the first one to got the Malabar Trogon here. So I'm quite happy that I live near this kind of forest. So then this is the image. So this is the water puddle during monsoon. Same in Dang forest. Okay. So pani bhara hua hai. So reflection of the tree and the bird, and this sparkling effect on right hand side is because of the tilt shift lens. And it is very close because it's a road. This part is basically the road.
Oh.
And there's a water puddle and the bird.
That timing is exclusive, Saurav.
Yes. See, this is the difference. Every time people are shooting like this, I'm shooting like this.
No, but I think, Saurav, in your genre of photography, your style of photography, I would say, there's a lot of pre-visualization happens, Saurav. You can't just simply go and click something, right?
Agree.
A lot of pre-visualization happens. So, I mean, needed. So, amazing job, buddy.
So I also talk about this thing that whenever we are in the forest, don't be so hasty in making the image. I mean, for a lot of it, I have seen people. I've been, hey, देखो, bird, करके पूरा ऐसा 12 FPS घुमा दिया, and then they will understand the bird is still sitting there. आसमान में घुमा दिया, bird is still there. So do not be very hasty.
Yeah.
Because if somebody would think that, okay, by capturing a red jungle fowl or some bird, if we are going to make an award-winning image, it's not going to happen. There are millions of photographers moving in the forest every day, making billions of images. So it is not that we are going to miss some award-winning images. So and in this way, we'd also learn how we can enjoy without the camera or with the binoculars. So that is also the amazing experience seeing a bird through binocular also is an amazing experience. So observation is, of course, required.
Yeah.
And then it is about changing the angle. So this image is taken just 200 kilometers away from my place. in some village area where crocodiles and people are living together. This is my current project that I've been working with a local NGO called Voluntary Nature Conservancy, which is there in USA, Canada, in UK, and now in Gujarat. So I'm working with them for this crocodile project with them. And this is the cover page of my image. I'd love to talk about this image. When I say that our images has to be deliberate, it has to be deliberate. There should be an honesty between the image and the creator. So when I say deliberation, is the honesty between the image and the creator who is creating it. So this image I call is Unseen Horizon. The whole series is called Unseen Horizon. This was taken in Great Run of Kutch, where I tried to capture the opportunities there in the horizon. And it is also, I relate this thing to the general life, that we try to capture something which is just there, which is approachable, which is not far away. And in that process, we don't want to walk, or we won't want to put more efforts, which can give you more opportunities, which is there on the horizon. So this series particularly is very close to my heart, and this is the most sellable print that I have.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah. So, and honestly, when it comes to print selling, it is not a very popular thing now, that people really don't buy wildlife prints specifically. And the reason is that nobody would want to put up lion fighting a lion or tiger eating a deer is not something that people would want to put it on their wall. But these kind of fine art prints are still sellable, and people are still showing interest. Not everybody is buying, but people are showing interest that, okay, what does it cost to me if I want to buy an archival print? So I love this series of Unseen Horizon.
Yes.
And the layers also, yeah.
So guys, once again, just a polite reminder, there's a beautiful, comfortable book by Saurav Desai called Visual Poetries. It's available online, and I'm going to share the link. Okay, please don't. You should have one copy of it, everyone. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and how we should admire the background. I'll be a little faster in showing the slides, but I am not very up for just a portrait. I'm always up for the portrait. I mean, what we call it, habitat shots, or different terms. Yeah, exactly. Different terms now, but these are called the habitat shots. So
environmental portraits.
Environmental portraits. Environmental portraits are also famous in street photography. And
True.
So in wildlife, we call it habitat shots.
Habitat shots, yeah.
So actually, everybody should be a good landscape photographer. If you want to capture these kind of images, we should be able to admire the habitat, and habitat is basically the landscape which is there, or the graphical things which is there in the forest. And Ladakh probably brought me that vision into me. Yes, I stopped making more images with a telephoto lens, and I started making images with the wide angle. Or 100-400 is my very favorite lens. Very favorite lens, because it is, and I don't know, it's amazing focal length. 100 to 400, like bird and mammal, everything is possible with that. So this is the image I had taken in Spiti Valley. And the best part of habitat shots and creative nature photography or fine art print is people are less bothered about the species in there. They would not ask me, okay, which bird is there, or either it is eagle or vulture, or which vulture it is there and all. Mostly people ask, which waterfall is that?
Ye waterfall kidhar hai?
So I'm very happy that because I should not say it on a public platform, but most wildlife photographers cannot contribute to the conservation. Most wildlife photographers are miserably failed in contributing towards conservation. And see, it is the fact that every wildlife photographer has to accept. Am I right? I don't know.
True. I agree.
But they are not. And I guess that if conservation, we cannot be contributing directly to the conservation. If we can make people fall in love with nature, it's a conservation, because then they would like to preserve it.
True. Even if you pass messages or message through our images, it's again a part of a conservation, right?
Conservation, exactly. So So my contribution towards conservation, I want normal people or laymen who are probably not very much into wildlife. I can make them feel the brilliance of nature. I can make them feel the power of nature, the beauty of nature, which is offered by, So I guess that is my contribution towards conservation. And every time, I love making this kind of images. So this is Velavadar, one of my most favorite places. Because from Velavadar, you will always have subject to shoot. Because black bugs are always there. So if you will be most disappointed if you want to shoot wolves and all, then it will be difficult. But yeah. From the whole Africa trip, this is the most favorite image of me. I love this giraffe environmental portrait or habitat shot. Because I cannot ask a better image than this.
So beautiful.
So beautiful, Saurabh. Yeah.
And this is taken with 600 and 1.4x teleconverter. So I was with the whole trip and I asked other people in my car to take this picture. They could not even spot the giraffe. And they were asking driver, "Aur aage le lo bhaiya, we want to shoot the portrait." So it is a process that whenever I see the animal, I would love to shoot from where I have seen it first. Okay, so it is not possible that every time you get a good environmental portrait or habitat shot, but at least you can try and compose. Yahan se aa raha hai, ye aa raha hai. Okay, this is the shot. Okay, let's see. If it is not coming, you try and adjust and go close to the subject. But at least try and capture from where you have seen it, from where you have felt it.
True. They're so complementing to each other. It's so powerful, so powerful.
And people would not say that it's leaving the frame. It is not rule of third.
Square crop क्यों करा है उसको?
Square crop क्यों करा है?
Beautiful, sir.
This is also like something that, or when you are there in the gypsy, you should have a correct set of people. I always said, okay, when you are on your trips, so if I'm taking guests with me and if I'm working for someone, I have to make sure that I balance between everything. But when I'm on my own trips, so I try to make images where it says something. So it is also a relationship between the Maasai guy and the Maasai giraffe. So this is the title is Maasai giraffe.
Maasai giraffe.
Because most people does not know कि Maasai giraffe भी होता है करके. So Maasai, उनको लगा Maasai is the guy. So it's a pun. Maasai giraffe. So these are the general identity people would love to see, but I would love to capture this also.
Yeah.
It does not mean that I don't capture this kind of images. And then the zebra, flowers and all.
Yeah.
So I would also try to generally whenever I see the animal, I generally pick up my 100-400. Generally, that is my first. My instinct is to picking up 100-400.
Okay.
Because that the freedom is there. With fixed focal length, we don't have the freedom to compose at most times.
Right.
So this is a snow leopard. I also want to talk about snow leopard trip. There, during snow leopard, I was with Nature Wanderers trip. And wahan pe bhi, when everybody is shooting with 600, and generally when people talk about snow leopard trips, they're always talking about, usme to you need a crop sensor with 800 millimeter with 2x and 1.4x telecon, God knows what. But at least environmental portrait agar aapko अच्छे लगते हैं, and if you get to see these animals in a good background, और सब लोग वहाँ पे तो ऐसा था कि everybody like try to approach the bird, the animal from the closest, and I was like staying away or going to other direction. But that gave me some beautiful images, and I'm sure these are the images I would cherish throughout my life. So what we were talking and discussing, Amit, over phone, that it is always a pressure that if people are seeing you as a habitat shot,
different guy,
some different guy or different. So it is always a pressure also, but I really don't want to take that pressure. But yeah, I always try to change my angle.
Wow.
Even in this image, everybody were going in a direction where they could see the whole snow leopard. And I decided to wait there only.
Hmm.
So everybody must have got the head-on shot. Okay, in everybody there are only 3 people,
Hmm.
but they must have got the head-on shot. But I like this shot
Hmm.
because this shot, I have portraits of snow leopards and all, but this is something that talks about that place. I mean, how beautifully we can present the snow peaks and the snow desert probably.
True.
So I love this shot because of the graphical value only.
Beautiful image, Saurav.
And again, this image, it is crossing the Spiti River. It was taken from Chicham Bridge
Oh, okay.
with 600 millimeter, of course, because this was taken
Saurav.
from Chicham. Yeah,
But Saurav, there is a bloody risk of losing your lens because if I remember Chicham Bridge, you have to absolutely shoot upside down and nothing to
absolutely.
hold, and
Yes,
if
yes.
a slight
Yes,
mistake,
yes.
the lens is gone down.
Your lens is gone. Absolutely. And the metal temperature is always 5 degrees less than the
yes,
temperature outside.
yes. Yeah.
So you cannot actually hold. And I removed my gloves
Hmm.
because it was really difficult for me to hold my camera literally upside down.
Oh,
If you have
okay.
seen the Chicham Bridge, you know it is high. It is not like other bridges like you can
True.
easily bend down.
So gorge, deep gorge down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deep gorge. It's a scary gorge actually.
Yeah.
It's very scary. So and I was so lucky that day. We were the only people on the Chicham Bridge, and
Mhm.
everybody, because I took them to see the Chicham Bridge.
Okay.
There was no sighting that day, by the way. There was no sighting, and everybody like, no, we don't want to walk up to the Chicham Bridge. And I was like, all right, let's go and see the bridge. I mean, we'll able to make some nice landscape from the bridge and this and that. And when we were there and we were watching that place, I was like, यार कुछ तो हिल रहा है वहाँ पे snow पे ऐसा.
Hmm.
And the images I have shown you, this fellow was sitting there. We did not even know it was there.
Oh.
So this is the image which was, we were very lucky. I was very happy that day. And sometimes the luck works for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that every time you have thought of it, then you got it. But sometimes, of course, if you are lucky, you can come up with this kind of.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have 600 millimeter, but I love to shoot this kind of shots.
Beautiful.
So here also there is a leopard.
Yeah.
So it is there right in the center of the film. Here it is.
Yes.
And this image got very viral in 2019.
ढूंढ के दिखाओ.
You have seen this one, sir?
No, not it.
Oh, can you see the snow leopard there?
I'm just trying to find it out.
Search if you can.
Okay, where is it?
It is right there in the center, sir. Here it is.
Ah, yes, yes.
Looking at you.
Yes.
Now, looking at the camera.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is just that sometimes we are lucky to have these kind of situations. And sometimes we pre-visualize the scenario and take our decisions and then we make the images. But yeah, this is the series of urban wildlife that I captured.
Mm.
So I have a series of 2 birds and a city karke.
Yeah.
The
2
whole
birds
the 6 images,
Huh.
2 birds and a city.
Okay.
I was just for a local newspaper I did that, but I love doing that series.
Yeah. So I don't know how many people are thinking of this kind of concepts. I think. See, that's the difference between the Saurav Desai and any other wildlife photographer, I would say.
Honestly, I read a small book about how you can sell a philosophy and not the material.
Hmm.
So when you are selling something doesn't mean in terms of money, but in terms of viewership or whatever. So I read a small article about it, and it was a newspaper that every time an artist is producing something, they are not producing just a material, the end product, but they are selling out the philosophy. And I fortunately was teaching in Fine Arts University here. I was teaching photography for 7 years. And there are a lot of artists from other states used to visit this university in my town. So every time somebody is presenting a paper or somebody is talking about his form of art, or he's from South and North, and everybody from every place, people are coming to this university to teach fine arts. And I always sit to their lectures. Like a very sincere student, I sit to the lectures. And there I've learned that always you sell a philosophy. I mean, okay, you cannot sell Salman Khan, you can sell Dabang.
True.
It is just like that. I mean, if I have to put it in words. So this image I made during CNP, Creative Nature Photography. So every year, once in a year, we meet into CNP meet.
Mhm.
And this image was taken, I mean, there were some other 70 other photographers were there, and everybody were waiting for hornbills to cross the river, Kari. And I was waiting these flowers to fall in the water.
In fact, Saurabh, I've seen the entire series of this.
Yes.
यार नहीं यार तेरा visual कुछ अलग है. I mean, what you can see, you can't see this, man. Seriously. And not only guys, this frozen. I mean, this flower is frozen, but you should see the entire series where you have that motion blur of flower and the motion blur of the wave and the water. Oh, it's crazy work.
And you know what? Another thing that I would also like to tell is that a lot of people say that when you are making a fine art prints or when you are making creative nature photography, it does not carry the information, but it does carry every image in the world, whether they are creative or they are straight or whatever, they carry the information. This is also the story of pollination process when flower travels from one place to another place.
True.
So apart from a beautiful image, it also tells you the story. Even in Unseen Horizon, it tells you the story of flamingos there in the background.
True.
It tells you about the information that how many flamingos are there.
Hmm.
So if you capture only one flamingo, probably we are misguiding people because rest of the flamingos are blurred. You only see one flamingo. Rather, this image has more information. So even if it is a fine art image or creative nature image, it has an information into it. And this is one of my very favorite images. It is there in my house. And this is also a very sellable image of my archival. And a lot of people have this image in their places. I sell 3 prints of my images and I have sold all 3 images of this.
Awesome.
So this is a story of when the birds come back to the house, you know. Again made in Dang, the very late evening when egrets are going back to their roosting places.
Guys, Saurabh also has got a beautiful website called Saurabh Desai Photography, Visuals Poetries, right?
Visualpoetries.com.
.com. And there in the section, you actually want to buy some prints. It's available for sale, so you can contact Saurabh for the same. I'm going to share the link in the description there.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So every time when I make images, either I'm using different shutter speeds or different lenses, or I choose different angle or choose different time of the day.
Right.
So because we don't unluckily all the wildlife photography, we don't have those ND filters for big lenses. So we have to, if we want to use slower shutter speed, we'll have to wait until it is sundown, or we have to go really early in the morning. So these are all the examples of slow shutter speed when the elephant is actually fluttering the ears and all. Urban wildlife. This image was taken in Jamnagar. Alex, is your favorite place also. So this was taken in Jamnagar.
So I mean, see, bird, people, ठीक है, road ठीक है. यार वो signal light भी आ गई यहाँ पे. I mean, how do you guys see this, man?
And मेरी वाइफ गाड़ी से उतर के ट्रैफिक रोक रही है, मैं रोड पे लेट के फोटो खींच रहा हूँ. दोपहर को, it was middle of the afternoon. So there are some people here. You can see that some people standing here, the street light and all. So it's just an afternoon in Jamnagar.
Okay.
And this is how Jamnagar is all about, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you have seen it already.
Absolutely. In fact, मैं यही बोलता हूँ हम काफी सारे दोस्तों को. I mean, they rush here to shoot flamingos in Bombay and all. I said, यार एक रात का travel है. Go to Jamnagar and go and shoot if you want to shoot flamingos in Jamnagar.
Exactly,
And other fauna also. It's an amazing place to shoot. In fact, Jamnagar का वो भी I think you are the pioneer. वो जो girls जब आते हैं वो लखोटा लेक में and the slow-mos and all, I think now today everyone is shooting that slow-mo images from there, you know. I mean, that is one place.
Starlings and all.
Yeah, one place you should not miss, guys, is the Jamnagar and the Lakota. Yeah.
और मस्त ऐसे आप नाश्ता वास्ता लेके बैठो वहाँ पे शूट बर्ड. इट इज दैट सिंपल. सी गुजराती लोग खाने की बात करते हैं सर.
God bless you.
So then, of course, motion blur is very. I always try motion blur, but motion blur is very. It's a method that you should be ready that you can lose your subject most of the time. So it's a trial and error method that not ev- but wildebeest is more connected to the speed. They're always running. So just trying to implement characteristic of wildebeest when they run. And how much it depends on how much you practice. So slow shutter speed is just about that you have to practice a lot, and then you will get to know okay, abhi ye 1/15 pe ho jayega. And then as much as you practice, you need to get better images with that practice.
Yeah, because only on plain shutter speed you can't just decide ki motion per kahan pe acha hai, because it's
No,
not
no,
only shutter
no.
speed, it's the speed of the animal also, or a bird also might.
Animal also.
Yeah.
Yes. So it just comes with the practice that okay, the mammal is running, okay, the lion is walking, this should be there. The bird is flying, this shutter speed would work like that.
A beautiful image again, sir.
So I guess this is what I had to talk about my images.
Just
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Saurabh, today I didn't feel like I'm conducting an interview. I feel like I am having a chit chat with my old buddy, which I'm waiting up for a
thank you.
very long time. And thank you so much, brother, for joining here and sharing your knowledge and sharing that vision. So I'll tell you, I'm very proud that I belong to era of photographers like Saurabh Desai. I mean, your name comes very high on my favorite photographers from India.
Thank you.
Okay, and there are a couple of others. I don't know name them. I'll definitely take the names when I do an interview with them. But you're always there, and you're always in pioneer in terms of a lot of initiative. Okay. वो बोलते हैं ना गब्बर ये हाथ मुझे दे दे सर वो आंख मुझे दे दे
I have two, I can spare one.
Yeah,
because I'm shooting with only one eye.
Saurabh, thank you so much for coming online and sharing this amazing knowledge. I was just looking at your images and I couldn't say anything. Thank you so much. And to all those people who message me on social media, I would like to be a photographer. And what should I do? I can't afford to go to a tiger reserve.
Yeah, which camera is better?
Please watch this. You can be a wildlife photographer around your house itself.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Saurabh, and I would like to meet you personally sometime soon. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir.
And
thank you for having me here, rather.
Hey,
our pleasure.
Our pleasure, Saurabh.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. See you, Saurabh. Bye-bye.
Bye.